What's up, everybody? It's officially fall, and today we're doing my September reading wrap up. So, in the month of September, I read 13 books and I had one 5-star rating, but no 2-star ratings, and everything else fell in the 3 or 4 range as far as ratings. So, I thought most of the books were okay, and I loved one book. The book that I gave 5 stars ratings to in the month of September was Network Effect by Martha Wells, which is the 5th book in the Murderbot Diaries series. This is the first book in that series that's actually a full-length novel. And what I loved about this book is that Art, who was in the second book, which is Artificial Condition, he comes back. And I absolutely love their banter. Everything that was happening in the book is really fast-paced. It was a lot of fun. Absolutely love this series. Anybody who's interested in reading sci-fi but doesn't really know where to start, this is a fantastic series. Just because if you're not really a sci-fi girly, or you're not really a sci-fi person, or you're not sure you'll like this series, all of the books, with the exception of this one, which is a bit longer, are novellas, so they're really easy to get through. They're fast-paced, absolutely fantastic. I loved everything about this book. So that was my 5-star rating for the month of September. So the first book that I actually finished in September was another reread, and again, I've mentioned this previously, I'm doing a reread of Sarah J. Maas's ACOTAR and Throne of Glass series. And this month I finished A Court of Wings and Ruin. These, again, I'm doing as the graphic audiobooks, and the graphic audiobook was actually pretty enjoyable for A Court of Wings and Ruin. This one I gave 4 stars. And again, for anybody who likes audiobooks or is just interested in maybe trying it out for the first time, the graphic audiobooks are a great place to start if you're not used to audiobooks. The next book that I read in September was Freeing Luka, which is the second book in and I'm going to mispronounce this again, the Clickanian series by Victoria Aveline. So I mentioned last month that I really enjoyed Choosing Theo. This is the second book in that series. Again, very much still in the vein of the Ice Planet Barbarians kind of vibe. I'm really loving this series. I'm going to continue reading it. I'll probably pick up the next one in October. But this one I gave 3.5 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyable. Thought the pacing could have been a little bit better. It was a fun book. It's a fun read. After that, I ended up reading one of the arcs that I received from NetGalley. This one was The Fallback Plan. This one I only rated about a 3 out of 5 stars. I thought it was okay. It being in the fall genre, I thought I was going to like it a little bit more, but I just thought that a majority of the story was a bit cheesy. And as a result, I just couldn't really get into the characters. The Fallback Plan follows Jolie and Lucas. Lucas is the chief of police, and Jolie is coming back to town. She's buying a business in town where Lucas and her kind of meet. They have a little bit of a history, and things kind of snowball from there. Overall, like I said, a little cheesy, but if you're looking for a book that's just kind of like a light, easy read to get into the fall season, this is a good book to start with, or anything in the Sweater Weather series. And the nice thing is that these can each be read independently, so you don't have to read the entire series to pick up on each of the characters. After The Fallback Plan, Libby actually released a book that I've had on hold for a while. That's a very popular book over on Book Talk, which is Archer's Voice. I actually really enjoyed this one. Archer's Voice I gave 4 out of 5 stars. The book follows Bree, who is new to town, where she meets Archer, who is mute. Most of the people in the town don't really speak to Archer, and Archer is very reclusive as a result, but they start up in a relationship and things go from there. I like the dynamic of the characters. This is a pretty popular trope where like nobody understands him but her kind of thing. They form a bond. It's actually pretty sweet. There's a couple parts that are pretty gut-wrenching, and I feel like at one point I'm sitting there reading the book and I'm like, something bad's about to happen because nobody can be this happy, and things just go from there. So it's a really good contemporary romance if you're interested in the genre. I would recommend this book. After that, I decided to switch it up from contemporary and go into a fantasy book. I decided to read the second book in the Legend Born series, which is Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn. This series just keeps getting better. I personally have started transitioning away from YA books, but this is a series I'm definitely going to stick with. The storytelling, the writing, everything is really phenomenal. I love the dynamic between Bree, another character named Bree, between Bree and Cell. The storyline's really engaging. It's definitely a book that I'm, like I said, it's a series that I'm definitely going to continue to read. This book I gave 4 out of 5 stars, and I really enjoyed it. After I finished up Bloodmarked, I got back into an audiobook. This one was A Court of Frost and Starlight. This is another reread from SJM. This is the novella and the ACOTAR series. This is also my least favorite book from SJM. I gave this a 2 out of 5 stars. The audiobook, though, is great compared to the novella itself. So if you're going to tackle this one, I would recommend the audiobook, especially the graphic audio. All those characters are really good. But the storyline in this one just isn't one that I particularly enjoy, and it really feels like more of a filler book. But it does give some context to where we go in A Court of Silver Flames. So it adds a little bit more context to what we go through in Silver Flames, but it standing on its own, having read through the other 3 and then not getting Silver Flames yet is one of my least favorite books. While listening to A Court of Frost and Starlight, I also started a new book, Assistant to the Villain by Nicole Maehrer. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. This one I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this. The story is told by Evie Sage and the villain. Evie is the assistant to the villain. I really like their banter, the storyline, how it unfolded. It was like a really fun story, and also the frog with the signs, whose name is escaping me at the moment. That was a lot of fun. I think it added a fun element to the book, and I really enjoyed reading this one. I'm glad that there's going to be another one in the series. I'll definitely be picking up that one as well. This is a good book, I think, also for the spooky season coming up. It has some creatures and magic, and it's a nice kind of witchy book for October. So after I finished up fantasy, I jumped back over to a contemporary book and read Beautiful Stranger by Christina Lauren. And this is the second book in the Beautiful Bastard series. This one follows Sarah and Max. They meet in a club, they start a relationship, and it goes from there. Christina Lauren's like standalones are a lot less spicy. In terms of like ranking them, I would say that they're 1 out of 5. Usually they're standalones. This book is definitely a lot spicier than their other books that they've released. Maybe more of their more popular books that we've seen like on Book Talk and things like that. If you're looking for a spicier book, I would recommend this. It's a fun read. It's an easy read, but low stakes, happily ever afters. It's a nice time. I gave Beautiful Stranger 4 out of 5 stars. Having filled my roster of fantasy and contemporary romances, I started reading Foundation, which is a sci-fi book. Foundation, I gave 3 out of 5 stars. Like, this is definitely reads like it was written in the 50s. Given that, I just, the pacing wasn't great. The characters were fine. Can't really identify with the characters, most of them. I think all of them that you get their point of view are male. So it's just a book that I couldn't relate to very much, so I probably won't continue on with the series. I understand that Foundation, though it's the first in this series, is actually kind of the sequels to the iRobot, so it's like it's in the same universe. If you're interested in reading this, maybe start with iRobot. There is a suggested reading order, but iRobot, I believe, comes first, and then you go into the Foundation series. After that, sticking with my kind of sci-fi genre, I read Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler, also an older sci-fi book. I like this one a little bit more. It felt a lot more realistic to me. Parable of the Sower, I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed the writing in this book. Octavia Butler is, of course, just a phenomenal writer. Post-democracy America, essentially. So it's like you're kind of put in a situation, like these people are put in a situation where they have to defend their borders. The borders eventually fall, and then her and a small group end up having to trek north to a safer location in Canada. After Parable of the Sower, I jumped into my Kingdom of Ash reread for SC Book Chat. I read this in about 2 days. It's a very long book. It's almost 1,000 pages. So I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It's not my favorite book in the series, but it's definitely one that I would recommend if you're into YA fantasy. But this is the conclusion of Aelin's story for Terrasen and Throne of Glass. And then the last book that I read in the month of September, which I just got in under the line and finished September 30th, like at 10 p.m., was Things We Left Behind, which is the 3rd book in the Knockmount series. This follows Sloane and Lucian. There's some history in their past. It's an enemies to lovers, small town romance. Very enjoyable. Really like their story. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, but I'm kind of sad to see the series end. But everything kind of got tied up in a nice little bow. The epilogue was really sweet, and yeah, good times. And those are all the books that I read in September. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far in the video, please leave some fall leaves in the comments. And thanks for watching. Bye.